Man, I am glad that I have some ammo with which, oh, that's loud, to train. Supervel always taking care of me with the goods, the good stuff. But right now, as you guys know, these things have become as valuable as gold. Literally, some people selling 1 round of training ammo for $2. That's insane. That being said, I want to do a little video here on how we can get good training that actually will help us survive and win in violence with less ammo. Which, that doesn't mean that once ammo becomes available, you need to just waste ammunition. So there's some concepts that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about some slick, simple ways that you can affordably get out to the range and keep your skills for self-protection up and running, and continue to still improve through these silly times of lean ammunition. So Kanan and I are out on the private range today, and we're going to just get right to it. Low ammunition training. If you can't read this, it's okay, because I'm going to read it to you. But we're going to talk about some key concepts. What are they? What's the goal? That's number one. So any training course we do, any endeavor that we engage in, we always start with what's the goal. Any of you that trained or have trained with us have heard me talk about that. We're going to talk about compounding our time on the range or movements. An example of that would be, just so we're on the same page, an example of that would be if you are working dry fire and we're going to assume you don't have a double action gun. So the gun would go click. What would you normally do? You'd cycle the action and you'd go click again. So compounding movements, rather than just click, cycle, which is really ingraining a bad habit. It's to break your trigger and then cycle the gun. We're going to ingrain click, tap, rack, and re-engage the trigger. So that is a compound movement. Again, double action, I don't need to do that, but you know what? If I'm training successfully, I will tap rack mindfully. So compound movements. We're gonna be efficient, not just with our ammunition, but with the movements, with the time, and with what we're doing. Ken Hackathorn likes to say, don't do stupid shit. I think that's pretty important. And what he means by that, something we talk about in all of our courses, if you wouldn't do it out in the real world, don't do it here. If you wouldn't do it in a fight, if it wouldn't be something that you would want to draw out of yourself at the moment that you need to protect life and limb, don't do it here on the training range. Dry fire. So a lot of times dry fire, we think about just that press of the trigger or maybe changing mags. Dry fire is everything that we do. It's how we engage the gun. It's how we holster the gun. It's how we manipulate it, how we dominate the gun with our master grip, how we control the muzzle. It's everything that we're doing. So in a sense, every time you touch your gun, you're ingraining and learning something, right or wrong. That's on you. So be super mindful every time you touch your gun. Dry fire does not just mean pointing your sight or your dot at a light switch in your bedroom or office or basement and pulling the trigger. That's not just what dry fire means. And the other note I've got on here is recoil. But Mick, I need to feel the impulse of recoil in order to get better. No, you don't. Recoil has zero to do with shooting a gun. Recoil happens after the projectile has left the barrel, right? So basic physics, equal and opposite reaction. The bullet leaves the barrel, the gun recoils or recoils however you hold the gun. If you're doing it right, there shouldn't be too much muzzle flip. That happens after. So your job is just to drive the sights back to the target. When you are dry firing, you should have a grip just like you would in reality. You should have a body posture just like you would in reality and not just mindlessly press the trigger. As such, when recoil happens, you're gonna do A-okay because you've continued to have a strong dominant grip. So why don't we get this target down to the range? We've got a couple pieces of TA steel down there. I've got a bunch of mags loaded up, and we're gonna work through some really simple drills that you can do to be effective at protecting yourself and continue to train with little bits of ammo. One quick point before we begin, make sure whenever you're on the range training, you have gear to deal with traumatic injury. We are not playing with toys here. These are weapons that can hurt, maim, and kill. Definitely have a blowout kit with a tourniquet handy. This is our top of the line kit from D-Day Response Group. We've got a code for that. Let's get our ass to the range. All right, so we're down here at the target line. I want to show you guys super quick, efficient, cheap way to have targetry. So whether or not you're using a pre-bought piece of cardboard, let's assume you have cardboard up. I love the hat point target base, by the way. We use these at all of our courses, S12. We've got 40 of them on the line, super light. They can take a heck of a lot of abuse, and they're really light as well. So cardboard, I'm a big fan of things like binder clips. So I'm giving you guys all of our tips here versus staples, because then my sticks don't get full of staples. Staples aren't tearing me up. I can move targets up or down freely depending on the drill and the desired height for the target. So super simple. Spray glue, not just any spray glue. This is coming from a lifelong carpenter. You want corner bead glue. This is 3M number 61. So I'm going to just wash a little bit of that onto the target. That's very heavy glue, and now you're about to see our very hard to find targets. Oh my gosh, there it is. Printer paper, fantastic, because as we shoot that target zone, I can just put more printer paper up just like that, right over the top of it. Nothing needs to get peeled off, and we're ready to go. So we're gonna set the camera up, and I'm just gonna start moving through some very simple drills. All right, so our target is set up. What we're looking for now, as we told you, dry fire is everything we're doing. The way I access the gun, this is all me training. So I go to the gun quick, master grip out of the holster. For me, I'm gonna lock the slide to the rear, visually inspect the gun to see if it's got any kind of issues, admin load, seat lock, tug, cycle. For me, a press check because I can, decock, thumb check, holster. We're at about 5 yards. We've got that huge target, 8.5 by 11. I'm looking for a solid draw and one shot just to start. It's not about speed, it's just about me doing it right. So here we go. I'm looking for efficient movement, and I'm looking for hits. So on the up, Kanan, give it to me. Up. All right, still going through my process. I was through the sights, so that shot broke. I was through the sights, I saw the shot appear. I came back in when I decided I was done, and now I'm gonna mindfully holster. We'll go 2 shots. Kanan? Still through the sights, and when I'm on the sights, no see-ums. When I'm on the sights, I'm not just on the sights, I'm on the trigger, ready to fire again. Not a rangeism, it's me training myself, safe and cognizant holster. It's me on the sights thinking, if I gotta shoot again, am I completely ready? Am I completely ready? Not just ready standing there, but ready, locked out, on the sights, on the trigger. We'll go 3. Again, on the sights, ready to go. Let's do it again. 4. So what might I want to do right now, Kanan? Maybe it's time for a tac mag. So I just shot most of that ammo. So now, continuing to progress, with good mindful action, I want to ingrain exactly how I would like to behave. I know I just shot through a bunch of ammo in my mag. You don't have to do what I'm doing, but I'm doing what I do, which is managing my ammunition. Let's go 5 shots. Still through the sights, ready to go. Nothing fancy, we're at 5 yards, right? So we've got about a 3-inch group. You see me running the gun, we're running it efficiently. It's not about speed or blazing fast anything, but so far we've run through a magazine, and I've got a bunch of draw strokes, and now we'll compound that. We're gonna add movement. So compound, to get as much out of our ammunition, we wanna compound our training. Nothing wrong with me standing here flat-footed and getting good draw strokes. So I'm getting good hits, I'm getting good draw strokes, I'm working on being mindful of every single thing I'm doing, because every single thing I'm doing is ingraining into my subconscious. Now let's add a little bit of movement. A little bit of movement, just getting off of the X, right? Getting off that line between me and the fictitious bad guy. 2 or 3 shots. We'll go 2 rounds because we're conserving a little ammo. 2's better than 1 because we're working on driving that sight back to the target. On you, Kanan. I'll go back the other way. Give it to me again. Compounding movements. It's also, do I go to my gun, then move, then draw? No, I'm compounding. So as my hands go to the gun, my weight goes in my direction of travel. This is contrived too. Don't get yourself into the habit of always having to move left or right, because I may be moving this way, right? I may be taking a knee, but compounding movement. So as I start to fall, because that's what we do when we move, we fall into the direction of travel. As I start to fall, I go to my gun, get it up, get the hits. Speaking of compound, as I got that final hit, I am back through my sights. Even though I'm talking to you guys, I have a clear sight picture of the target. My finger was prepped on the trigger. Did I hit? Did it work? Do I need to shoot again? Did I hit? Did it work? Do I need to shoot again? So I'm ready to go. Those final shots was me just explaining, maybe it didn't work. I gotta hit it again. Let's go back the other way. Same thing. As you fall into the direction of travel, get that gun up, get good sight pictures, back through the sights, cognizant of what's happening, mindful of everything that's happening, even mindful of your breath. In that, we are going to get better. Let's grab some dummy rounds. So again, thinking about efficient movement, compound movements, and having a plan, I'm going to clear my pistol out. Same master grip, same draw stroke, non-dominant hand came up to the center line of my body. I'm going to remove the source of ammunition in my gun. I'm going to store it on my body because I don't need to mindlessly dump ammunition. Cycle, I watch that round hit the deck. I see where it is, I'll pick it up later. I don't want to form a bad habit of chasing rounds to the ground, especially on a training range. I see it, I'll pick it up. Good dominant grip on the gun. I have loaded a magazine up with some dummy rounds. If you're not sure what a dummy round is, it is an inert training round that will feed into the chamber. You have to buy one for your specific caliber, of course. And as it feeds into the chamber and the trigger goes forward, or the hammer goes forward rather, as you press the trigger, you'll get a click instead of a bang, forcing you to work through that stoppage to keep the gun going. So in this case, it will be a tap and a rack. What does that mean? Tap, rack. So let's look at it. Again, mindfulness, seat lock, tug, cycle, press check. For me, decock, thumb check, holster. So we're going to do the same thing that we just did. So I'm going to draw, lean into my path of travel, present the gun, finger straight, tap, rack, reacquire, and keep moving, right? That's super simple. We'll do it again. Up, tap, rack, reacquire. Super, super simple. One thing I will point out, if you watch that and you see, oh, the muzzle dipped. Look at the target. The muzzle didn't dip. If you shoot enough, the muzzle did dip after the trigger went off. What you're seeing is me driving the sights back to the target from doing it enough. So that's a good thing. Now, if the target had a bunch of rounds all over, Kanan, go ahead and look at the target. By the way, Kanan was not behind the camera while we were just filming. He stepped aside, so don't freak out. So still, I'll head over. So still, and this isn't braggadocious, this is just whatever shooting, I can still cover that group that we've been shooting with my palm. So we're done with the dummy rounds. Slides lock back, seat lock, tug, cycle. I've got that master grip the whole time. Good dominant control of the gun. For me, press check, decock, thumb check, holster. Everything has a purpose. That's how we are getting reps in on the range with less ammo. Every single thing we're doing has a purpose. None of it is for no reason. There's nothing that we're doing here just to fill time. Everything. Even the way we load a magazine, we can be ingraining some skill. For real. Oh, now you're going to tell us how to load magazines? Yeah, you're damn right I am. If you like to use loaders, which is fine, no offense, how do you think your hands are going to get stronger if you don't load the magazines with just what you've got? What are you going to do when that loader breaks? What are you going to do when the loader's not with you? What are you going to do when you're alone in the closet trying to jam a magazine to stop the bad guy. Maybe your magazines are all loaded and that day will never come. Everything's important. Everything matters. Do the right thing at the right time, every time, as Super Dave likes to say. Every time that we're manipulating the gun, I showed you that tactical reload earlier, or that tac mag, basically you are retaining the magazine that comes out of the gun, right? So this whole video has turned into a mini training course. Everything you're doing, every time you touch the gun, you're ingraining something. So we'll just finish up here. We can now, with a simple target like the one we have here, we'll just work a basic transition. The big paper is the body, the little head box, that little A is the head. So Kanan will give me a couple numbers, maybe 2 and 1. First number is body, then head. Maybe he'll say 3 and 2, and we'll just work through a few of them. And yeah, we'll keep adding in the movement. So Kanan, on you.
2 and 2.
Back through the sights, mindful of what's happening, good body posture, etc. Good holster. Let's do it again, kid.
1 and 2.
And I pulled a miss on that second shot. So if we come down with the camera, in our classes, cutters don't count. Cutters are for losers. So it's just touching the line, but we missed. But because we're through the sights, not just making booms, that's training, right? Get back on it and get the shot done. Let's continue. We'll do another. The thought process, guys, is not just make loud noises, because now you're wasting your ammo. I learned from that shot. Even though it missed by 1/8 of an inch, I learned from it. Back through the sights, see what the result is. And the reason that we want to pay attention is bad guys don't have holes just appear in them. They don't just stand there and say, "Thank you, sir, may I have another?" Oftentimes, from data, you don't see anything. Maybe a little bit of a clothing pop. You have to be mindful of what's happening. Let's do it again, Kanan.
3 and 1.
Fired quite a bit. I'm going to tac mag. I've got a few rounds left in that magazine. I'll store it back in my Neo mag. Basic stuff here, guys. Here's the premise. Here's the premise. Yes, we have ammo that is being soaked up by all of us. No, it's not a conspiracy. What's happening is all of us are buying it up because we don't want to get left without, just like toilet paper back in the beginning of summer. Train with what you have a goal in mind. And if the goal is to have that gun so that if you need to ever deploy it to save your skin, you can do that. Train with some level of accuracy. Don't just spray and pray the target. Don't be a teenage boy at prom night. Think about what you're doing. Direct rounds into it. Be mindful of everything you're doing as far as the manipulation of the gun. Be professional. We like to say that if somebody sees you with the gun, they should think you are a world-class shooter or world-class fighter with a gun, because you have developed skills that not just look a certain way, but deliver a certain way. This is Mickey with CarryTrainer.com. Drew at the editing desk. Today we got Kanan behind the camera. Thank you, Super Bell, for the ammunition. Be well, don't be dickheads.
I said I got me some gunfighter gun law. Gunfighter gun law, baby. Gunfighter gun, oh, no more gunfighter blues. Made in the USA, amazing lubricity, 100% synthetic, baby. So it's gonna last you longer. So go on CarryTrainer.com and order yourself some gunfighter gun or gunfighter lube to get rid of your gunfighter blues. I said go on and order yourself some gunfighter lube.
Yeah!